Speaker is Heba El-Sweidi from Al Masra Foundation in Egypt. Thank you.
So do you need to press on anything or let's work it? Okay. Just move. Okay. 2 months ago, I watched Bad Man, a true story about a social entrepreneur who has impacted the lives of millions of women in India by inventing a simple and small sanitary pad-making machine that enables thousands of young women entrepreneurs. The film ends with him telling his story at the United Nations, and I thought to myself, could this be possible? That one day I could present mine, and here I am. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor and privilege to be addressing you here today. Saving lives, easing suffering, integrating marginalized people, and advocating for their rights. This was the driving force behind my involvement during the Arab Spring in Egypt and Libya in 2011. To many on the outside, the Arab Spring was an inspiring spectacle of millions of people calling for change. But on the ground, thousands were injured, which pained me deeply and compelled me to act. In the middle of a hospital, armed with my phone and a block note, driven by a need to make a difference, I got a list of 20 names of people who were injured during the uprising. It didn't matter what age, gender, religion, or even what side they were fighting on. For me, my role was clear: to get them the medical care they needed. So while others marched for freedom, I ran operation centers from the lobby of public and field hospitals. Time became a series of names and injuries, as 20 became 40, 40 became 300, and 300 became 4,000. 4,000 people whose lives my small team and I helped save. It was during those difficult times that I found that of all traumas I witnessed, and ladies and gentlemen, I witnessed many, ranging from severe injuries to bullet wounds in the head, that burns were the most challenging of all. Ladies and gentlemen, globally, more than 50 people suffer a severe burn injury every minute. And by the end of my speech, nearly 500 burn victims around the world will be on their way to hospitals fighting to survive. 50% of those will be children. Only 300 will live. And while burns are global, burns in low-income countries is nearly 20 times that of high-income countries. It is for that reason that the majority of deaths from burn are found in my region. In my country, Egypt, every 15 seconds an accident happens. Every day 300 will be burned. 60% of those die because they have no place to go to. The survivors will leave hospitals to a life of forced seclusion, shamed by society for their disfigurements. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2014, driven by a strong sense of responsibility and a sincere belief that I can and will make a difference, I established Ahl Masr, a non-profit foundation, to help burn survivors by treating them and integrating them back into society. And so we did. For the thousands of people we have been able to save since then, this is the true measure of our success. As an Arab woman entrepreneur, I do not have to tell this audience about the challenges I faced along the road of establishing and running what has become one of the leading nonprofit organizations in Egypt. Suffice to say, your efforts in enabling a more inclusive environment for women entrepreneurs will go a long way to raising a culture of acceptance in our world. For that, my thanks. In 2018, Ahl Masr began the construction of the first state-of-the-art specialized hospital for trauma and burns in Egypt. This hospital will become the first, ladies and gentlemen, in the 68 countries that make up the region of the Middle East and Africa. Like most startups, we had our share of difficulties during the first couple of years, from financial constraints impacting our ability to hire qualified personnel, to running the day-to-day operations. As an entrepreneur, you learn to wear many hats. Today you will be human resources, and tomorrow you will be a financial manager. And in between, you will see why we ran out of coffee. For me, this meant going to Harvard to learn about governance, finance, and other things necessary to run a business. But if I were to single out the most difficult aspect of running a nonprofit foundation for burn survivors, it would be funding. Think of it, ladies and gentlemen, as a product. Like us, Padman chose a road less traveled. Padman's product challenged social taboos. So the question is this: in a world where ignorance is bliss, how do you seek funding for burn victims? The simple answer is carefully and creatively. But this question raises a larger moral dilemma. Is our responsibility solely in caring for the physical needs of those survivors, or do we have an ethical responsibility beyond that? We think of burn survivors in a physical sense. Pain is an understood quantity. We all feel pain and can relate at some level, but we apply a Band-Aid, take a pill, and move on. For the burn survivor, there is no moving on. There is no school to go to. There are no friends to play with. There are no jobs to earn a living. There are no outings to enjoy. There is no future to look forward to. In a world where we espouse equality and the right to happiness, where we seek to fulfill the SDGs that will ensure a brighter future for all, should we not give those same rights to burn survivors? Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of millions of burn survivors, marginalized, with no prospects at livelihood, existing, not living, I take this opportunity from this spot to call upon the United Nations to assign a day internationally recognized as Humanity Burn Free Day, a day that signals our support and acceptance of those survivors, as we support and accept the survivors of cancer, AIDS, and disability. I call on you, ladies and gentlemen, to espouse this initiative, to explain to your families, friends, and neighbors that every year 11 million people become invisible through no fault of their own, but because fate has decided. I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to change the world. Help make this a reality by showing your support and signing a petition on our website. Ladies and gentlemen, your support will give hope that one day they may have what we all take for granted, the right to be seen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Heba. You're an absolute inspiration. The work that you do with the Al Mazrah Foundation is absolutely amazing. There will be more to be said at the end about the petition. I'll also make a few words on behalf of the foundation and the petition to get a World Day.